she wanted to know hey,
This
what's the
meeting is
process for
being
me to take
recorded.
this existing business in Milwaukee and for me to run it from Florida? She wanted to move to South Florida. And I basically told her it's very simple. When you go out of your way to enter into a brand new market, you're basically gonna have to build that business from scratch. And you kind of have to think of yourself as like a retail service. Like if you own a barber shop or a hair salon or an accounting office or whatever it may be, your business is basically going to be a reflection of like your local community and your local relationships and all of those things. And for you to manage that relationship from another state, another city, another market, it's really simple. You just need to find a number two, an integrator, an operator, a successor to take over that business over there. So, Andrew, what my recommendation would be is you have the referrals in place, you have the leads, you're still going to be managing the sales process, you're still going to be doing the consultations via Zoom, you're still doing 90% of the lift. Why not just partner with an agent that could just actually do the actual face to face, being the appraisals, the showings, the open houses, taking them out, whatever they have to do, and then just negotiate a much smaller referral percentage. You don't have to give them 50, you don't have to give them 40. Heck, you don't have to give them like 30. Like you could probably negotiate it down 25% or less. But if you could find someone to do that for you and you could train them on the way that you provide your service and how you do things and things like that, what you're essentially doing is installing someone else to basically handle that book for you, and then you could kind of all flood it off your plate. I don't know if that's kind of like up your alley, or is that kind of like in that direction, or
I mean, that's exactly what I've been looking for, to be honest. So I've been how's it going? Sorry.
Oh,
So,
sorry.
no worry. So I've been
Straight from the
definitely
barber shop. I love it.
I love
Bro,
this, right?
first of all, Dave, come in, come in. This is my brother and my friend Dave. I've known him
What's
since we
up,
were in
brother?
high school. He's one of the best barbers in New Jersey. He's in Orange at George's Barbershop, and he travels. He does luxury things. He's working with some of the jets. He's one of the best professionals that I know. Let me just plug him real quick.
What an intro.
I
All
love
right,
it, man. I
sorry
love
for
it.
taking too much time, but so yeah, I've been looking for exactly that, and I haven't really found a good fit. I've had some agents come and do showings for me. I was in Nigeria over the summer. I started a deal, and I had an agent from my old brokerage, Weichert, actually come and turn the key for me, and she didn't charge me a thing. That was just all relationship. But that's not a consistent thing. You know, I have a lot of great relationships that have helped me do business when I wasn't able. But yeah, 25%, that's exactly what I was looking to do. If it's someone from our own office, even better. But
Cool.
I'm going to be looking for that.
What I think you have to do is you have to promote it, because the amount of
Yeah.
age that would take you up on that offer to not have to think, not have to get the lead, but just let it go out there and open the door and get paid 25%. Heck, there's probably
Yeah.
people in this webinar that would be interested, you know? So
Yeah, and I've done it
if you
before.
put it everywhere, put it on email blasts, put it on your social media, ask around in your brokerage, ask around in other brokerages, go to networking events, and your target audience is going to be someone that is young, ambitious. Maybe they're just into this, maybe 2 or 3 years, like just getting started. They're not really having the best of time, but someone that could basically be in a position to actually do this for you, and like it would benefit them a lot. And then, like I said, if you need help, like reach out to Michael. Like I'm sure he could help you out with that also, you know?
100%. Thank you very much.
Anytime, brother. Enjoy the fresh cut.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congrats again.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say is this. I have up until about baby's due in May, so I have up until about March to like really get something locked in, earn a ton of money. After that, I'm semi MIA, but I'll be around. Thank you guys for the great support and the good information.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else have any topics they want to discuss? Anything where they feel stuck in?
All right.
Going once? Going twice? Anyone? We'll just hear from Mike's presentation.
I think Cyrus is on the call too, so if you want to plug him in here. All right. We're gonna get going because
Cool.
I don't want to keep people waiting. So I once I get this thing linked up, if you give me 1 second, what I want to go into is basically a lot on the AI front, but it's not just AI. It's kind of a combination of AI and some other stuff. And I think that like as we enter into 2026, bear with me 1 second. As we enter into 2026, what I'm realizing is the game is changing pretty quickly right now. I mean, it's always a relationship business. Like, there's nothing that's changed on that front, and that's going to continue for years to come. But the reality is like the tools that are out there and the ability to change our business and increase our productivity is is at an all-time high. And I say that because when you look at like what's going on in the world of AI, I mean, the we're shifting over from like it just being a tool that we kind of use to like it being agentic, where it's like it's doing functions for us. And where we used to have whether it was assistants in the office or VAs, we still have those, but like now we could superpower those positions with people that are doing this that are using these tools, and ourselves that are using these tools to really just promote our businesses like never before. I want to get into some of that, and I don't know why I'm having an extreme issue right here getting my slides on. Bear with me. This is when technology is fun.
There you go. Cool.
You got the page up?
It's loading. It's right now. It's just black. There we go.
You can
Cool.
see it?
Yeah.
All right. I apologize.
I'm gonna leave you to it, man. I got you as host.
Yep. So, am I sharing the wrong screen? What screen are you seeing? Because I can't see what you're seeing.
It's just the Zoom mic.
We just see the Zoom.
Hold on, guys. I apologize.
We did see your AI, but
You did see the presentation, or you saw the Zoom?
Yeah. Just go back to what you were doing. Just change the tab.
yes.
Oh, you confused me.
Yeah.
All right, guys. My apologies. Good?
It's starting up.
Give it a second. There we
Yes.
go. Good to go. Awesome.
Productivity in
Thank
26.
God.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate it. So what I wanted to go through is it's a presentation I put together in regards to really for AI and for, for other things. But what I wanted to get into is like when you start to think about this year, I apologize, I don't have it in presenter mode, but it's just for whatever reason, it's giving me an issue on these two screens. So really, there are four things that we're trying to do. We're trying to save time. We're trying to reduce costs. We're trying to boost capacity, which is like your learnings and all that. And we're trying to scale effort. So, the reality is we're all doing things really well in business, but how do we actually like put those things on steroids without like, basically working ourselves to the bone? I think AI could solve for a lot of that, and that's what I'm going to get into in today's presentation. So when you talk about like what's the first thing, I'm going to talk about 5 things. I want you to look at these 2 storefronts. Like if you're walking down the street and you see these 2 storefronts, naturally you're going to be more interested in the bright, beautiful storefront because they obviously they look like they put some care into the business that they have. The one to the left is it looks like, I don't even know what they're selling essentially. And the reality is like when you look at a lot of people's businesses in real estate, the unfortunate reality is that's what it is. Like you go online and whether you go to one site or to the next, it's not all uniform. It doesn't look all the same. It doesn't look presentable. And I think that that's where many people fail. The experience that I had years ago is I went out and I bought a bed and breakfast. And the first bed and breakfast that I bought, the guy had run the bed and breakfast for 25 years. And he did an unbelievable job in terms of kind of a culture related to his bed and breakfast. Like he was like baking people cookies every day and like that kind of stuff. And I didn't have the time or interest to do those things. But what I did have, and I thought was important is, I had the ability to market properly. And so what I started to think about differently was, all right, like if I'm doing the marketing the way that I want to do it, like we could improve this business by just the marketing. Because if you looked at his pictures online, it looked like he was selling furniture. So I did. I changed exactly that. And in our first year, we did 2.5 times his revenue just by changing the look and feel of what we were online. That to me taught me a really important lesson. And it's like every single person on here needs to, as you're entering in a new year, you have to reevaluate like what does your business look like online and take it one step further. What does your business look like on all these different places? So we'll talk about different places that you should be focusing in on. And then the last thing is, and this is probably the one that most people are really slipping on, is your business optimized for AI? Because AI doesn't read and interpret information the same way as Google did. And so like knowing that, like you really have to start thinking differently about the business. What I'm going to show you is like my evolution. Not that it's amazing, it's actually not. But what I will show you is like there is a change in the way that I started to market things over time. Years ago, I used to run this session and it was called the Broker's Open. Like, so this was the first one that I ever did. And it shows you, like, if you look at it, it's kind of clunky in terms of the design of the actual, presentation or the marketing. I mean, yes, I'm featuring different speakers, but the reality is like, this doesn't like pop out compared to, some of the things that you see online. I used to put my slides together, my thumbnails of like what my YouTube videos would look like this. And it kind of feels like it's straight out of the 90s, early 2000s, where it's like, yeah, like you could see that, what it is, and it's kind of clear lines and all that. But to me, like it doesn't pop off of the page. Like more recently, like I started to like create some design elements that are a little bit funkier. But what I wanted to show you is like this is one that I did more recently. Like, it's a vivid picture of Alex Chingus, who did an amazing job for us at Growth Mastermind last month. But like the title of it is very clear. You know what you're getting into when, this person's up on stage, and you know what you're showing up for. You know what you're looking at if you're trying to investigate the video of it. Like it's not something that like you're unsure of what the topic is, and it pops out to you. Did the same thing like real estate partnerships. Like it's very vivid. It kind of like makes it look like, more than it is in some ways. Those are the type of, ads that we're running more recently to drive traffic. And I got to tell you, like when we first started, Growth Mastermind and all that, we had 60 people in the room. Now we have 500 people in the room. And, on a monthly basis to consistently drive that crowd, I don't think it's all marketing. I think we're obviously bringing content that drives interest. But the reality is like marketing is a big piece of it. What I wanted to show you is like if you look at the slide to the right and you look at the slide to the left, like obviously she's a lot better looking than I am, so that helps. But like the reality is it pops off the screen compared to the one on the left because it's just like it's interesting. And when we're talking about like clicks online, we have to be more interesting. So the cool part about this, and the reason why I wanted to start with this when we're talking about tech stack, is this is all done through Canva. And where like when you look at the slides that I'm putting together, like it's as simple as me going into Canva, hitting create a design, clicking on social media. For the examples that I gave you, all I did was click on YouTube thumbnail, and then I pick like a particular like template that they have. So if I pick this template, like I'm gonna take that template, I'm literally going in there. This whole process is gonna take me 2 minutes. I'm going to click on where it says singer. I'm going to write whatever I want to write. I'm going to click on her name. I'm going to change the name. I'm going to take the picture that she has. I'm going to drop in the other picture of whoever I'm trying to feature. And this is what it comes out like. And so if you think about it, like the design work, when you look at like Juan, like I had him featured, he did a great job for us, like talking about how he builds, agents and intelligently through, VAs and all of that. But like when you look at this whole process took me about 2 minutes to do, and it looks like a professional designer did it. Like it looks like something that makes a whole lot of sense. And so I show you that because the reality of it is like this was way faster to produce than the old ads that I used to do, and they come out way better. Him sitting in a chair with no background, I didn't do that. I just dropped it into a picture that had no background, so it automatically formatted it accordingly. Those are the type of things when you're thinking about like web content, like if you're not using a tool like Canva, there are a million different tools that do this, but I'm just highlighting Canva. If you're not using a tool like that to support your business and make the efforts that you're doing like look better online, you really need to reconsider it. It's just an easy way to get started and to build. Moving on from there, like, and by the way, like this goes to this thought process is which business are you? Like, is your business the one to the right that like everybody's attracted to, or the one to the left where nobody knows what the hell it is that you do? Like, and I think that more of you, unfortunately, are on the left side of this screen, not on the right. And you need to start to like just improve the strategies that you have in order to, make yourself look better for all the efforts that you're doing. Tip number 2, And this is a big one. This might be the most important thing that we talk about like in the next few months. It's AEO versus SEO. AEO is answer engine optimization versus search engine optimization. So the world is changing, and if you're not staying in front of it, you're going to get left behind in this particular shift. So let's talk about that and dig right into it. Local SEO. Some of you do an amazing job of this. I'm going to highlight a couple people in Maplewood and where I run an office. So if you type into Google "best realtor in Maplewood, New Jersey," this is what comes up. In the map pack. It's basically like the Kate Elliott team, Keller Williams Real Estate, and then the Good Life. So 2 out of the 3 are agents in my office, the first and the third. And when I look at that, like, first of all, kudos to them to making sure that they've done enough online to drive traffic to their site. A lot of this has to do with Google reviews, and that's something that I would highly, incentivize you to do. Like, go out there and try to get more reviews on Google, because it's really going to help you in this world that we're shifting into. But it certainly helped us, like, even before in search engine optimization. So now let's look at it from the AEO perspective, like answer engine optimization. That's the AI portion of this. So when people go to Google right now, they type in the exact same search. And by the way, I'm using Google as an example, but like you could do the same thing on ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, site that platform you decide to work off of. But if people go into Google right now and they put in best realtor in Maplewood, you'll see that right up here you have all, but you also to the left of it have AI mode. So not majority, but like half of the people in the world are using AI mode now. This is what comes up on AI mode. Several realtors and teams are highly regarded in Maplewood. It highlights 3 teams, 4 teams. What I loved about this is out of the teams that it highlighted, like 3 out of the 4 were from my office. And so when I looked at that, I was like, all right, like these people are doing something right. But why is this so important? Because the average consumer in today's world is not even thinking about trying to do the research themselves. The average consumer is going to something like this and saying, okay, Google just did the research for me, or AI just did the research for me. I don't even have to think about it. Like, it's already done for me. And to me, like, when you think about like the transition, like you don't even have a shot at the table for anybody who's going into AI unless you're coming up in those results. So we could spend the whole rest of the session talking about AEO and SEO. What I'd like to highlight, if you have not watched it, Growth Mastermind, we did this session. Lindsay Listansky did this a couple months ago. And I'm going to tell you, it was one of the best sessions that I've ever seen in my entire career. If you have not seen this, it lives on my YouTube channel, so you can check it out anytime you want. But I also put the QR code into this. I would strongly recommend you check it out. It's like a 45-minute to an hour session, but it's a game-changing session on how you actually build your business, using AI and making sure that you show up using AI. Strongly recommend that everybody take a look at that if you haven't. So I'm going to keep it moving from there. I want you to think about this. Like AI search engines, people will literally write into a search engine, like who's the top real estate agent in whatever neighborhood? Which realtor sells the most homes in whatever city? Like they're eliminating their search and their research, I should say, and letting AI do that for them. How do you ensure that you show up higher on those search results and make sure that it's consistently you're ranked in that group? Because those are the groups that's getting the calls, unless they have a relationship. If they have a relationship, they have a relationship, and you still should do relationship marketing. But for the people that don't have relationships and they're truly out there trying to figure it out and want to know who to go out and interview, AI is telling them who to interview. That to me is where you need to live. Check out Lindsay's presentation. I won't belabor the point. But what I also want to show you is this thought process that AI can't necessarily look at reviews the same way that, that Google did. Like there's dynamic elements that AI doesn't index. So you have to be it heavily prioritizes. I'm going to read some of this, but it's just important. It heavily prioritizes certain things that's indexable text. In your bio and all that, you have to start building your bio to allow for that. Like, you have to start, thinking differently about what you're putting in reviews, what your clients are putting in reviews. Like all of that stuff, like what they care about is expertise, experience, like the authoritative nature of the business, trustworthiness, all those things. If you're if you're speaking to that, that's
Can I punch
crucially
in here?
important.
Yeah,
Did you ask
real
something,
quick.
Cyrus?
So
Absolutely.
this is like insanely important, especially when you're specializing in a certain type of real estate. For instance, I'll give a really simple example: probate real estate. When you get reviews from your clients, it's super important to let them know and like guide them. And I'll share this. I'll pull mine up, but I'll share like what we our message that we send. Maybe I'll send that out afterwards. Literally a template of our review message, but we tell them what keywords to say in the review. So if, for instance, if I'm specializing in probate, I might say, please make sure that you mention probate in your reviews. Why? Because exactly what Michael's saying here. As soon as someone types in probate real estate agent, it's going to pull up all of your reviews that say, help me with a probate deal, help me with this deal, blah, blah, blah. It could be the same thing, luxury real estate, blah, blah, blah. You want to make sure that in your reviews, these people are using these keywords that are going to help your search engine optimization and your AEO go up completely, because it's going to start tagging those people as like, oh, I'm looking for a luxury real estate agent. Oh, I found a luxury home with, Deandra, right? Like, boom, 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 boom. And so people, when they search that, it's going to show up. So go ahead, Michael. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I nailed that in because that's so important.
No, I completely agree. And you're free to jump in anytime you'd like. Give me 1 second because somebody's asking me for the link. So I'm just trying to send it to her.
Yep. So long story short, though, at the end of the day, like I would, when you're thinking about this concept, right, that I just talked about, is like throwing in like those keywords into your reviews. Like when you're thinking about that, I think it starts really early on, is like your whole business plan and figuring out your ideal client. And when you figure out your ideal client, like name 5 of their traits, what they do, who they are, so on and so forth. And once you name those 5 traits, then okay, hey, cool. I want to work with doctors, right? Like let's pretend this is what it is. I want to work with doctors, and I want to work with specifically doctors that work at Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach. Then when I work with a doctor at Hoag Hospital, I'm going to tell them, please make sure when you put your review, put as a doctor at Hoag Hospital here in Newport Beach, this was blah, 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 blah. I will guide them and tell them, make sure that they throw these things in reviews, because especially with Google reviews, it will pop up. And as you figure out who your ideal client is, you can actually start guiding your clients on how to put the reviews so that you show up more when those search items are looked at.
Just so you know, to Cyrus's point, what Lindsay spends the majority of her time talking about is exactly that. It's basically guiding clients on how to write reviews and what will be indexable for like all these different AI sites. It is a deep dive in that topic. I've not heard it done better than what she did, so I would strongly encourage you to check it out. And before this session's done, I know I put the QR code up, but I'll also put a link up in the chat as well. I wanted to point out something on here, which is like, I want you to think about how crazy this is because of where AI was and where where it is today and where it's going. 50% of the people that go on Google don't even do search anymore. They just they run a search and they immediately look at what the AI response is for that search. Like, it's insane. That's insane. We're like so early in AI and people are already letting machines basically do their research for them. So like if you're thinking about like, is this a real thing? Is it going to change the business? Yes. Like it's a surefire yes. like it's only going to get more and more impactful to all of our business. It doesn't change the fact that this is still a relationship driven business. I'm not saying that tech is like taking over the world. I'm just saying that like if you want more opportunities, you have to start considering this and figuring out ways to improve your profiles online. I'm going to keep it moving to the next topic. So there's 9 platforms that actually show up most frequently in AI generated answers. These are the platforms: Fast Expert, Real Trends, Yelp, Homelight, Zillow, Reddit, Realtor.com, Expertise.com, and Homes.com. So what does this mean to you? Like, go on these platforms, create profiles, make sure they're, you're verified, update with reviews and your transaction history. And, you want like written third-party reviews on there that are local. So if they're saying like, I do business in wherever, in Summit, New Jersey, make sure it says like Michael Pennisi was the best agent that you could ever consider that worked with me in Summit, New Jersey. Like those are the type of things that matter in today's world. So this is like completely rip off and duplicate. So one of the things that I pay for is Jason Pantana. He's linked up with Tom Ferry. If you don't know Jason, he does a really, really great job of talking about tech. I actually subscribe to his like monthly, what is it called? It's called AIM, but it's basically his AI like institute or whatever it's called, AI marketing or something along those lines. I forget what the acronym is, but I will tell you, for me, it's money well spent. And I'm not saying that you guys should all run out and do that, but he actually creates some really interesting prompts and, some content that you could actually then reevaluate your business with. If you go on this QR code, it will prompt you on like how to optimize your bio for AI search results. And it'll literally like ask you to input your bio, and then it'll include a number of questions that you could write about your business, and then it will write your bio specifically for what AI cares about. Go through that exercise. Like it's just an easy thing for you to do, and this prompt is really great in that regard. I'm going to continue on from there. By the way, if you have any questions about this stuff, put them in the chat and we'll make sure we get to them at the end. Number 3.
Sorry, I missed the prompt. What prompt are you talking about?
I'm sorry, the prompt is actually through the QR code. I didn't put the prompt is very long and it's almost like code. What you do is you go into there, you get the prompt, you copy the entire prompt and you drop it into Gemini or to ChatGPT or whatever AI you're using. And basically that prompt will then ask you for your bio. So then you go into wherever your bio lives, whether it's, your brokerage site or whether it's like LinkedIn or wherever you have a bio, you would copy and paste your bio. You would drop it into the same AI after it asks you like to do that. And then it's going to ask you a number of follow-up questions. You just answer the follow-up questions and it will rewrite your bio in a way that is basically like, AI could interpret better. So it's just a really easy way for you to do it. Did you put the prompt link in there?
Yeah, so I put
Yeah, I have it now.
Session, and then I threw the prompt link in. I'll throw the links in while you're talking, Michael.
Yep, I appreciate that. So number 3, I want to give you an idea of like, this is like in my world right now, what I started doing, and I want to encourage you to start thinking along the same lines. So what I started to realize is like you have to develop channels. So the example that I will give you, and it's a little bit of a backstory, but I was reading an article and it was about Peloton. And basically in the article, they described like what Peloton was doing was they had this crazy boom in 2020, obviously because of the pandemic. Everybody's home, you can't go to the gym. They sold like, crazy amounts of Peloton. And then what happens like post pandemic is like their stock price goes from here, it's like a straight cliff down. And so they needed to figure out like how to solve for that because they were actually like on the verge of bankruptcy. And what they decided on is the CEO was very intelligent in his strategy. He was like, you know what? We can't sell enough Pelotons to keep up the pace of the pandemic. So what we need to do is we need to retain the people that we have as subscribers every month. Like we can't have that fall off and now all of a sudden we don't have the revenues that we had. We need to retain subscribers. How do we go about doing that? And they came up with a strategy that's really all about community. So the strategy about community is like you have like an Emma Lovewell, which is one of their trainers. Like it's not good enough for her to just teach classes. She has to teach classes, but then above and beyond that, they start to make her like an avatar, like community leader on Instagram. And she's talking about what she eats for breakfast, and she's talking about like what she does on the weekends, and it becomes like this lifestyle thing where it's like now it's not just her talking about like, hey, let's ride the Peloton. It's let's ride the Peloton plus let's do all these other things to be part of my tribe. And what happened is it created this stickiness, like where people didn't want to like leave the community of Emma or whatever the other, riders were. So they actually retained all of these people as subscribers, and it really helped Peloton actually continue and be viable for years to come. So, and the thing is like what Peloton did intelligently is then they started to find people that hit different communities. So it's like, some of them are white, some of them are black, some of them are gay, some of them are straight, some of them are whatever. And they decided to create like all of these different like riding instructors that hit different communities and like resonated with different people. And that to me was a very intelligent strategy. It clearly worked for them. So in my world, I've tried to do the exact same thing. Like for years, I've been running Growth Mastermind, and Growth Mastermind has been all about leadership and productivity. Once a month, I'm highlighting like the best of the best from a leadership and productivity perspective to get them in front of crowds of people to like just share what their superpower is. Well, now more recently, I decided, you know what, like I want to improve upon that. I'm going to actually start to do another community, which is Reinvested. And Reinvested is all about how do we build wealth? How do we grow, from a financial perspective? And it's all about real estate investment. What we're on right now is the conversation. This is more like, we say real estate and business, strategy sessions, but a lot of this is in the tech space. Is like, what technology you're using to improve yourself. These are all different communities that are being built out. You and your business needs to start thinking along those lines and how to build out communities. So the example that I would give you is like, what are the avatars? Doesn't have to be like literally like people that live online. Like, that's not what I mean is I'm saying, what are the avatars in your business? So an example of an avatar would be, hey, listen, I have, I'm trying to go after, sellers that are, that are empty nesters. That could be an avatar. First-time home buyers is an avatar. Your target markets, like investors, like there are different avatars that you're going after. You should start building senses of community and avenues within your business from a marketing perspective that cater to those different types of avatars. So I'm going to use an example of somebody who does an awesome job with this. It's Kate Elliott in the Maplewood office. I've already highlighted her because she was one of the top agents that showed up on both the SEO and the AEO perspective. But if you go to Kate's Instagram, she creates all of these different video series. And the different video series are really catering to specific demographics of people. She's very funny, she's very creative, she's a character. But if you see this is like a split screen, but it's basically like on one side, she's the like savvy agent. On the other side, it's a potential investor. And she's talking about an investment opportunity that she has, a listing that she's taken, but she's really creating content that gears to investors and why she's somebody that could actually help them and why they should think differently about, this particular property that she highlights. So if you think about that, like she's creating that, and then she has a whole nother series that's like her at a cocktail party talking real estate with people in the crowd. And like she is literally like everybody in the crowd, and it's very funny the way she does it. I would encourage you guys to all check out her Instagram page if you haven't. If you're not following her, you should. But if you start to like look at this and look at it through the lens, not as a consumer, because consumers, they don't necessarily understand the strategy she's doing. They just see the content that she's putting out and they get a kick out of it. But if you look at it through the lens of like, what is the strategy behind it, you'll realize very quickly that she's creating channels. And there's all different channels catering to different like avatars in her world. And, it's very intentional. She does as much business as she does because she's very intentional about who she's targeting and creating content specific to them. I would strongly encourage you to start to think about that in your business. Like, what communities can you build, whether it's an event series, whether it's just doing, content online, it doesn't matter. Create communities, because communities is what's going to create stickiness within your business. Number 4, I realize that most people on here, when I talk to you about like what are you using for AI, the majority of people in the universe would say ChatGPT. This number 4 is kind of a little bit of like a mishmash of like different ideas. It's not one like thing, but it's all geared around the idea of like there are different types of AI that do different things for your business. And if you're only using one form of AI like ChatGPT, you're probably not getting the best results that you could get, because you should be using different forms of AI for different tools. They're tools in your repertoire. So I wanted to go through and just show you some of those things that you might not be thinking about, and I think it'll be helpful for you. So first of all, when you think about ChatGPT, I'm not saying that it's going to follow the exact same formula as the example I'm going to give you, but I don't think it's crazy to think this way. When I first went on social media, I went on MySpace, and everybody I knew was on MySpace. And then what happened? Facebook came out, and people don't even know what MySpace is for the most part anymore. So if you think about it, and then it was Instagram and TikTok and all these other things, like things evolve over time. Right now, the leader in the clubhouse is definitely ChatGPT. But if I was a betting man, I would bet on Gemini. And the reason I would bet on Gemini is it's built in, it's Google. The first is what Gemini is. But like Gemini, if you think about Google, they have the infrastructure, they have like the data centers, they have like the money to throw at this problem. They have some of the best engineers in the world, all of that. I think that Gemini long term is actually going to be really important. And so I would suggest that if you're just using ChatGPT, at a minimum, you should start to dip into the Gemini world. But Claude and Perplexity offer, and there's others as well, but they offer different options. So here are all different. You could go nuts with this and spend crazy amounts of money every month on what you're spending on AI and all these different platforms. Personally, I would not do that. This is an example, again, that I stole from Jason Pantana, but would I go through and spend money on all these things? I personally don't, so I'm not going to be a hypocrite and tell you should, but what I will show you is where AI is going and why I think you should start to maybe consider investing in some of these other tools. So really, it was assistive in 2024. It was amplifying in 2025. I think of amplifying, and it's a lot of people used it for how to write up a listing, description. Okay, that's amplifying your business. Maybe you're not a great writer. It's improving your business. Maybe you're using it to create content. Those are the amplifying qualities of AI. Where we're going in 2026 and beyond is agentic, and it's think of a personal assistant for you. So let's dig a little deeper into that. You guys know there's a funnel for marketing, and you have these different top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, and the reality is you could use AI for each piece of this. But realistically, the bottom of the funnel is probably the most important part of what you could use AI for today. And what that really refers to, it's it's the final stage of the buyer's journey. It's a buyer that they know they want to buy. They know the community they want to live in. They've done the research. They do have some questions. Are you the one that's answering their questions? And are you creating content that answers their questions regularly? Because if you're the person that does that, naturally, you're going to give yourself an advantage, and AI can help you do that. So first thing that I'm going to talk about in that world is, if you've never been on Zapier, it's something that you probably want to take a look at. What Zapier does is create automations within your business. So I'm going to give you an example of what a Zap could look like. This is literally a screenshot, and it's okay, on the left-hand side, it says I'm trying to create a co-pilot is what they call it. It's basically an assistant. I'm giving them use of certain tools. The tools that I'm allowing them to use in this instance is ChatGPT. And then I'm explaining what the trigger is, the cadence of the trigger. So in this example, it's every week. And then giving an instruction on what I want them to do every week. So in this example, it's like seller questions for a blogging agent. Like your role, you're a research and content assistant. Your weekly job is to, one, identify the top 3 questions prospective home buyers or home sellers rather are asking in the target area. Number 2, draft a separate authoritative post answering each question. 3rd, save each blog post into a Google Doc. 4th, put those Google Docs into my Google Drive folder in this specific folder. And the parameters I give it are whatever neighborhoods I want them to do that for. I want you to think about that. Imagine waking up like every Friday and a blog post is done for you that's specific to the marketplace that you are in, and it's basing all of this off of what questions sellers in that marketplace care about today. Does that make your life easier or what? Like, I want you to take it a step further, which we're going to talk about, which is if you never use Perplexity, Perplexity is another form of AI. What Perplexity does that's pretty interesting is it's twofold. Is one, whereas ChatGPT has all the information really that's like from 2 years ago and before, Perplexity is in real time. So that's first thing that it has an advantage on. The second thing is if you'll notice at the top of the screen in that like green bar, the green bar says get AI power in your browser with Comet Assist. So if you download Comet, it's another web browser similar to like if you're using Google Chrome or if you're using Safari or whatever you're using, you could download Comet. And I want you to understand the power of this. Through Perplexity and Comet, using those two together, you could run an AI search in Perplexity and give it an instruction and then give it permission to use the web browser in Comet to do what it is that you need it to do. So I'll give you an easy example of this. Is we all are on the MLS. You're in real estate, you use the MLS. What if you took the MLS and you basically said, okay, like I know that every month, every week, whatever it is the cadence is, I wanted to be able to open up my local MLS and I wanted to run a search for all the houses that came on in, let's just say in Short Hills, New Jersey. I want to run that search, get all of those houses, and then I want you to run trend lines on, whatever, days on market. I want you to run trend lines on what the original list to sale price ratio is. I want you to do whatever it is that you feel could be helpful to you. And now I want you to create content for me to push out on social media that aims at specific avatars, like we talked about, specific communities that we talked about. Hey, I want you to find what is the best option right now for an investor using the browser to go into the MLS and look through investment opportunities. You can do that today. You don't have to wait for future tech. You could do that today. You could have it creating blog posts for you on a weekly basis. Like it's infinite the amount of content you could create. And the reality is if you start playing around with this and start building like agentic where it's like doing the work for you as a VA would, if you have that happening behind the scenes, you understand how powerful that could be for you versus the next person? Because now you're creating content on a daily or weekly or monthly basis that is specific to your local market or 15 different markets in your area. And you are now putting that content out. Google is spidering that. AI is looking at it. You can give it your own little twist if you want it. Like you put it in a Google Docs, and then you could look through it and say, hey, I want to change the language to make it feel more like me. Or you could give it examples of your past writing to make it mirror something that you've already done. It's such an easy approach. And the reality is it's going to give you an advantage. I know it sounds like it's complicated. If you start playing around with it, it's way easier than you think it is. I'm going to keep it moving from here. So this is just downloading and you just download Comment. So reinvested, I want to show you this example. I created this logo, pretty basic logo, but I think it does the job. I created this logo using ChatGPT. ChatGPT, I put in, this is what I'm trying to create. This is what I want to highlight the RE because it's real estate driven investment. And this is the look that I want the logo to come out with. So it produced this. It was a million iterations back and forth, but this is what I landed on. But I want you to show you something. So now I took it from ChatGPT and I brought it over to Google. And I said, Google has some of the best software in the world when it comes to video generation. And I'm going to tell you this, the world that we're in right now is kind of wild. to produce the videos that Google could produce in like Nano Banana and VO3 and all these different the visuals that you could create in Google right now, like using Gemini, I should say. Like the reality is like if you're a production movie, if you were a movie production studio is the right way to say it. Like this would cost millions of dollars to produce some of these things, like commercials. The example that I was given that I thought like it opened my mind to this, it was like a box. It was like, think of like a moving box sitting in an empty room. And all of a sudden, like the box opened up and furniture started flying out all over the room, and it kind of situated itself all over the room to the point that the room was like designed and beautiful. And then on the box it said IKEA. And
how's it going?
somebody talking?
Okay. I seem to make a withdrawal for a cashier check.
Somebody needs to get muted.
No, as usual.
It's okay.
I have an ID, or I can give you.
Sorry about that. So basically, like when I saw that, I was like, whoa, like this is a beautifully designed commercial. And the reality is that commercial would have cost millions of dollars to produce. Like Google did it in like 13 seconds for free. So what commercials can you create for yours, for your business? Like I just wanted to show you an example of, I took this is not great. This is one iteration. So it's not like I played around with this and tried really hard to like make it perfect, but like I did one iteration on this, and I took this logo and I said, I want you to make an automation that shows like basically a bank vault opening up and information in like gold value, whatever you want to call it, like being produced.
It's 3250.
So this is what it came up with in like one iteration of me giving it a prompt. The reality is like, is it perfect? Of course it's not perfect. Like, is it something that I would like use like in its current form? I wouldn't. But when I saw that, I was like, whoa. I'll show it to you one more time. It's only a few seconds long. But it's like, I was just like, I want dominoes to fall and it ultimately open up a bank vault, and I want it to be branded reinvested because I'm trying to do like a teaser for an event that I have coming up. This is what it came up with. Like, I in a million years wouldn't be able to put that together. Like, and it would cost me a lot of money to put that together. Now, imagine if I go through different iterations of that and say like, no, I want this changed to that. I want the dominoes to fall in a different direction, whatever. Like, you could have like a trailer, like, or an opener for a video series that you have that's done for free, and it's better than anything you could ever produce on your own. You got to start thinking about the different tools, because you can never do this on ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT would not be able to create this, but Google's like Gemini could. So just start thinking along those lines. It'll be helpful for you. The fifth and final point that I have is I would love for those who are on this call to open up Instagram, if you would. And I'll give you my site. It's basically my Instagram page. By the way, if you want my slides for all of this, this is how you're going to get them. So I would encourage you to do this. I did this. I see Robert White on this call. Robert White is one of our amazing leaders, from South Jersey, and he invited me to come down earlier this week to do his kickoff meeting and speak about the tech in today's world. So I literally used the same presentation that I'm doing today down there, just to kind of like give people some things to think about moving forward. And the last tech stack, so to speak, the thing that I want to speak to actually relates to what I'm going to prompt you to go through, which is go on my Instagram page and then go to the whatever, you could click on any one of the posts that I put up and just put in Spring Lake 26 as a comment. And if you do that, what's going to happen is it's going to send you all of my slides. It's going to send you a DM. It's going to ask you to engage, and it's going to send you all of the slides that I went through today. So you have them. You don't have to ask me for slides. It's very simple. Just go on Instagram, put in a comment of Spring Lake 26, and it'll send them to you via DM. So the reason why I'm showing this to you is this is an absolutely awesome tool that every person who's using Instagram, if you're in sales, you should think about using this. The tool is very simple. It's ManyChat. So it's ManyChat. Cyrus, if you would, can you throw a link up?
Yeah, I put links of all of our Instagrams, Lindsay Lastanzi, I put where the recording is, and then I put also a 50% off ManyChat for the first 2 months link.
Awesome. Thank you for
in there.
that.
Yep.
So the thing is this, like if you go on ManyChat is very inexpensive. We're talking about $15 a month for the pro version. That's the one that I would start with. That's the one that I use today. But what it allows you to do is, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I would go into ManyChat and it gives me different options. The option that I selected is the middle option. So it's like auto DM links from comments. So I'm going to click through that. And this is what it's going to show me. I basically took screenshots. This would be linear down a page. But what it is it would say when someone comments on, and I put any post or reel, and then and this comment has a specific keyword. So the keyword for this particular presentation is Spring Lake 26. Then what will happen, and it'll say, and then they will get a DM with a link, wishing you success in 2026. Here are the slides. What I do is I force people to actually follow me, and it allows you to do that. So it'll say to you, like, if you're not a follower, it'll say like, hey, this content is for people that follow me on Instagram. It's an easy way for you to just build up like, your content and make sure you're engaging with people. And the reality is like, once you do this, it will send them the link. So let me just get into this for a second, because to me, there are so many uses of ManyChat that you could use to build your business and to engage. I want you to think about all the intricacies of this. And Cyrus, I know you have plenty to talk about on this because you use it really well. So I'll turn it over to you in 1 second. But the reality is like when you use ManyChat, like the way that I think about it is like, all right, like, so first of all, immediately you're building engagement, because you do a presentation like this, or if you have some content that is driving interest, you got people immediately writing you comments. Instagram loves that. They want to see that. Not only are you building engagement that way, but the engagement that you're getting in the comments is triggering over to DMs, because now I'm sending them a link that's automated. I don't have to think about it because ManyChat is doing that automation for me. And they're getting the exactly what I just wrote, which is like, hey, thank you for clicking. Click here if you want the link. They're going to click that. I'm going to respond to them. I'm going to say, are you following me? This is for followers. They're going to click following. It's going to be this back and forth engagement, all automated, by the way. So Instagram doesn't care about the fact that it's automated. They just care about the fact that there's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They love that because that's what they're trying to promote. Ultimately, I'm getting somebody to follow me, and now I'm sending them that information, and I didn't have to touch anything. So what is this like? What do you use this for besides building your credibility and your authority and whatnot on Instagram? Like, think about all the different clickbait that you could create that will actually drive traffic and leads to you in real estate. I think of the old school ads that used to go into like classified newspapers. And it would be like, what are the 5 things that, the 5 pitfalls for listing a house in the spring? Like, if you're trying to sell your house in the spring, what are the 5 things you want to avoid? Click here for the information. Any person who clicks on it and gets that information is either in real estate, probably not, or trying to sell their house in the spring. So now all of these people have identified, they've raised their hand and said, I'm interested in selling my house this year. Now you know who to follow up with. Now you're just creating simple content. By the way, AI can help you create it. You could say, listen, I'm trying to create like, a teaser content to get people to show me who's interested in selling their house this year and get clicks that way. It's such an easy way to try to drive leads that are potential seller leads or buyer leads or whatever it is. Whatever you put out as the teaser, whoever, whatever the target market is for the teaser, that's what you're essentially getting to raise their hand, and you're sending them the content they look for, but now they're giving you an opportunity to engage with them. If you're not using this, it's $15 a month. It's a joke. But if you're not using strategies like that, you're not really getting the amount of leads from your network that you could be. It's just an easy way for you to drive traffic. And then ultimately, you could create content in here that's specific to that community. So if I'm going after investors, I could create something that teases them in, but I could also create something that, hey, send me your email and I'll put you on the list of all future investment opportunities. Now I've created a community. Like those are the type of things that you want to start building out. And it's simple automations to your business that will give you an advantage. Cyrus, do you have anything you want to add to ManyChat before I finish up here?
Yeah, I mean, I can I have like a presentation on a piece of this.
Perfect. What I'll do is I'll finish mine up because mine's like another minute, and then I'll turn it over. So first of all, the videos for a lot of the content that I've created is live on on YouTube. I would strongly encourage you to check that out if you haven't. And the reality is like, I'm not selling anything. The goal is to try to help people build their production. We have some really cool content up online. I would strongly encourage you guys to take a look at it if you haven't already. And truthfully, I just want to thank you guys. I appreciate you being here. I hope this was helpful. I think that the tech stack going into 2026 is different than before in the sense that we really are using different automations and different AI tools to separate ourselves from the crowd. Don't feel like you're like behind because everybody's behind right now. The reality is like when you enter this world, I want you to think about it as if it was 20 years ago. If you could get ahead of the curve on SEO and you could make sure that you stand out of the crowd from Google, and think about what that could have done to your business and what you were able to build. Like, let's just say you didn't build out an Instagram or a Facebook or a whatever, like TikTok. Like, imagine when it first launched, if you just leaned into creating content for it, what your business would look like today. You have that opportunity with AI today that is literally going to define not even the next 20 years, probably going to define the future as we know it. Like, lean in today and become an expert and really create that content and use these tools to help drive your business forward, because if you don't, you're going to get left behind. I really believe that. I do appreciate your time. I'm going to turn it over to Cyrus, and wishing you guys a great start to the year.
Awesome. Oh, sorry, give me 1 second. Let me just pull my screen up here.
Let me just do stop sharing. Sorry about that.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, there we go. Share. You guys see?
Not yet.
You guys can't see it?
I can't see it. Now I can see it.
Okay. All right, cool. First things first, I will send a link inside oh no, I already sent it, the 50% on ManyChat. So I use ManyChat at a very, 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 very high level. I use it in TikTok. I use it in Instagram, TikTok. I use it as much as possible. This piece right here is one of my favorite releases that they had recently. And what that is can you guys still see me?
Yes.
Okay, my screen froze. So, all right. So, what that is a follow to DM. So, what they do, what you have the ability to do with ManyChat is you have the ability to follow when someone follows you, it will immediately send them a DM. Okay, why is this so important? Because why is it called social media? It's called social media because it's meant to be social. It's meant to have conversations. Okay, two things. I post actively right now. I have about 120,000 followers on Instagram. I post about 4 to 5 times a day. It sounds insane. I understand that. I'll actually post a link to a course that I have on like how I do that with AI and ManyChat and whatnot. And what kind of content we post and all of this, like I'll send that to in the chat. But my thing is what I realized very early on is the algorithms in social media push for us to be social, right? A lot of people just post content to post content, but the point is to interact. The point is to have conversations. So with this follow to DM, it starts conversations. The point of this piece is, look, like a follow is one of the strongest signals of interest, but we want to welcome the new followers. We want to introduce ourselves. We want to share resources. We want to ask questions. We want to get the conversation started because, again, what's the point? The point is to build relationships. So So what will happen is with this automation is you can set it up so that it'll introduce yourself and explain why your content is about. So for instance, it might say, hey, I share a lot about my life here. I share a lot about real estate content. Thank you for being here. Or you might send a message that says, hey, what kind of content are you interested in seeing? I share a lot about real estate and my fitness journey. Here's this. What content are you interested in seeing? Right? And now you can start seeing that. Or you might share helpful resources like guides. This is what I use for my real estate business heavily. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Here's a couple, the top 10 rated restaurants in Orange County. And it's a guide. And people are like, oh, that's cool. Why? Because I'm trying to collect as much content or as much contact information as possible. Right. So when that follow comes in, right, that is the highest intent from a person on social media. At that moment, it's so important to take that into the next conversation. So we want to get our conversations on social media out of social media. That's how we create revenue from closing deals. I sold $22 million in closed volume from specifically Instagram last year. 22 million. Now, how I do that is exactly through this method, right? Is I take when someone follows me on social media, I send them a DM immediately, and depending on the time, what I'm pushing, what it is that week, like my DM changes over time, and it's to engage with those people. Now, here's kind of like can you guys see this, or is it like covered with the?
You can see it.
Okay, cool. So, look, the point is to build relationships that lead to results. So, for instance, if you're promoting digital products, courses, so on and so forth, you might add a free resource, a quick tip, an insight, so it establishes credibility early. Affiliate links, so on and so forth, right? Content, communities, or subscriptions. Look, the reality is what I use this for in my business is I might post something that says when someone follows me, it might say, which is one that I'm running next month, but it'll say, hey, thanks so much for the follow. Here's a couple properties here's the best deal in Orange County. Here's the best deal in Orange County. And people might say, oh, yeah, I want that, or I might not. And we look at the analytics on the back end, like over and over and over again, seeing what performs. Right now, I think it's saying, hey, do you want to join my community as far as a space on Instagram? But it changes over time because we like to see what works, what doesn't, what hits, so on and so forth. A big piece of this is reviewing your analytics. But you're supposed to, the whole point of this automation is to connect at the right moment, to make every follower feel welcome and to build trust faster. That's how you're going to convert actual closings from your Instagram, from your social media. Remember, look, if you have 50 followers on Instagram, like I want you guys to imagine a coffee shop with 50 people in there, and they're listening to you talk. That's what the equivalent is. I want you to think about whenever somebody walks into the door of a coffee shop, imagine you were there and saying, hey, my name is Cyrus Mohseni. I'm a real estate agent. Thank you so much for being here. Would love to, what are your goals right now? Like, imagine that's the conversation that you have at a coffee shop and you just stand there all day long. That is what the follow to DM from ManyChat does. It will allow you to connect at the right moment when they walk in that coffee shop, make them feel welcome. Hey, welcome to the coffee shop, blah, 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 and build trust very quickly in what you do. So this automation, we talk about like comment to DM, so on and so forth, like these other automations all the time. But the follower DM is one of the most important DMs, and it just got released by ManyChat, I think maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. The more conversations you start, the more chances you have to build relationships and earn trust and drive results. Statistically, with follow to DM, creators are seeing stronger engagement from the start. 98% of beta accounts using follow to DM have conversations connected to it. That is insane. Imagine every single person that follows you. Every single time you post a video and somebody, follows from that reel or whatever, you're having a conversation and letting them know what you do and who you are. That's the power of follow to DM. There's a whole, I have like how it works, how to set it up, so on and so forth. This is all inside that course that I'll send a link on here. But I think the biggest piece of, I'm going to stop sharing real quick. I think the biggest piece for ManyChat specifically is it's like Michael said, $15 a month. It's $15 a month. And now you have someone automated to be able to now, every single time someone follows you, every single time someone comments something. I mean, imagine if you are in, let's say, Newport Beach, like me. Imagine when someone DMs me Newport Beach, automatically they get a guide. And that guide says, hey, thanks for being interested in Newport Beach. Here's a guide on the best restaurants and best things to do for the month of October in Newport Beach. If you'd like the best deal in Newport Beach, best real estate deal on a weekly basis, click this link, and then another one pops up. That's how you're going to convert people from followers to actually closed clients, is setting up and using automations versus look, candidly, you could do this yourself. You don't need to spend $15 a month. You could go and DM every single person that follows you. You could go ahead and set up, and every time someone comments, you could go in and respond. But the thing that is the reality in our society in today's world is we all want instant results. Everybody wants it, no matter who you are. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. Everyone wants instant results. We forgot about dial-up. We forgot about time before text messaging was around, right? Now we get something, we want instant results. So ManyChat allows you to have instant results, allows you to give your consumer instant results, allows you to put a video online, and now you can post a video and say, hey, check out this property. Oh my gosh, this property is insane. The deal, it's 20% lower than every other property in the market. I'm telling you, I have the best deals. I always have the best deals. If you want the inside track on the best deals, DM me deals in Newport Beach or Newport deals. And then all of a sudden, what ends up happening is automatically they get a message with that deal. It throws them into your CRM, and then you keep rocking and rolling. You don't have to be behind your computer. You can focus on creating the content that's going to drive those things. That's my spiel on ManyChat. I'm telling you, I am obsessed with it. The reason we have the 50% off ManyChat is I actually helped launch this follow to DM piece. I am telling you, this is one of the best products, and one of the best products for you to use in 2026. When Michael, Juan, and I were sitting down planning this session, I was like, I have one tool that I really want to push, that I really want to make sure that they understand this is the tool that you guys should be using. I said, not the AI, not any of that. Michael's like, I want to stick on this. I said, ManyChat is the number one piece, because ManyChat is such an easy setup. Like Michael said, he showed you how quick you could do it. They have templates on how to do it, and you can activate it today, right now. So, and I have a 50% off code for all of you guys, so you might as well use it. And then I sent a link as well for the course that I have on ManyChat and AI. You can click that, check it out, whatever, if you guys want to. We're going to be talking about a lot of this no matter what. But yeah, and then I think Michael, you sent the RSVP for next month's session.
I put it out for next month. It's February 17th, I think. Hold on, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. It is February 19th. So that's linked up there. Listen, I appreciate you guys being here. I would love to open it up. We covered a lot of ground today. I would love to open it up to any questions you have about, the topics that we brought up. If you don't want to get on camera, you don't want to shout it out, you're welcome to put questions in the chat. But openly, I would love to be able to help answer any questions you have. Was this helpful for you? Good talk.
See, Michael,
guys,
Michael,
this was
you wanted instant feedback too. See, people were just trying to unmute. Go ahead, Deandra.
I'm like new to real estate in New Jersey, and this AI has really helped me. I started off a few months ago with 0 followers. Now I have a little bit under 300, but those are 300 people who were specifically there for real estate stuff. So all of this is really kind of helping, I think, boost it a little bit faster to get that attention. So this is great. Thank you.
I love that.
Happy to hear it.
I love that so much.
Any other questions, thoughts?
Hi, I do have a question.
Yeah, please.
It's Scott Gleason from Westfield.
Hi, Scott.
If I'm thinking about my avatar is boomers who I'm hoping are going to give up their houses in Westfield. My intuition is that they see more Facebook than Instagram. But I'd like to hear what you think about that. And then I would like to just double check if ManyChat works with Facebook.
I'll answer the first question, and then I'll turn it over to Cyrus to talk about like the intricacies of ManyChat because he's more of an expert on that. But the reality is like I'm not pushing Instagram over other platforms. That's not the purpose of what we just went through. Like where your community lives. Like if they're on LinkedIn, use LinkedIn. If they're on Facebook, use Facebook. If they're on Instagram or TikTok, like it's kind of irrelevant. Like that's just to me, like, that better than I do for your business. Do I think that like universally, like all boomers like are not on Instagram? I don't think that that's true. But I do think that like if you have a feel for you get better interactions and involvement like on Facebook, I would leverage Facebook. I mean, I'm not against Facebook at all. For me, I find Instagram to be more useful. Like the ManyChat piece, like you don't need to use ManyChat the same way on, as you do on Instagram because Instagram doesn't allow you to do some of the things that, like you can't like post a link the same way that you could post a link on Facebook. So, it's a little different in terms of why you would use it for Instagram or TikTok. But, I'm sure Cyrus could probably add more to that piece.
Yeah. So actually statistically, I think it's 2.5 times more likely to be boomers on Facebook than Instagram. I think it's like, I want to say like 50% of adults 65 plus are using Instagram or Facebook, and only I think 19 or 20% are using Instagram. I'm a data nerd, so I am obsessed with numbers and the data because if we understand the data, then we can understand how to actually create conversions. So with that being said, if you're focused on that age group, those people, then yes, Facebook is your route. And to answer your question, it does work with Facebook Messenger. Okay. So you can set up automations. So ManyChat, you can set up automations with Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, Messenger, and then I think you could also set up some with email. I haven't done that yet. And then with Telegram as well. Which again, those are all the different ones. I use Instagram, TikTok, and Messenger. Like those are the ones that I use. Remember, ManyChat is like the only partner. There's a bunch of companies that will do automations. ManyChat's the only official partner with Meta, with Facebook. So it's going to be the one that's actually going to work and not going to get disconnected all the time, not going to have issues, the newest update. So the other issue, and this is super important because I went through this. I think I talked to Michael about this a while ago. I went through this. I used another company. It was called like Mobile Monkey or something like this. And I was like, well, it's cheaper than ManyChat. It does the same thing, yada, yada. And then I got flagged. I got flagged for auto messages and so on and so forth. And because Instagram and Facebook don't like that, right? ManyChat, that'll never happen because they're partners. So all of the automations that you're utilizing, they'll actually tell you like, hey, you can't use this automation because this will create this. Or you can't do this because this will create this. Like it will tell you what you need to do so that you don't have those issues. And then it won't allow you to do those things because they want to keep their partnership as well. So like when I say, I'm like, look, ManyChat is more expensive than the other product, but it's well worth the extra $7, you know? And so yes, to answer your long story short, Facebook, if you're looking for boomers and things like this, then yeah, 100%. I would tell you Facebook is more likely that you're going to have more boomers on there, so on and so forth. But again, there's 20% of adults 65 plus use Instagram. So it's not, still not, that's still a big share. You know what I mean? So, you know, I could argue both ways, but I would tell you that what I do is I think Facebook's a really great platform, especially for real estate. What I do is I'll post my reels to Facebook and Instagram. So I'm getting both. And now when you set up the automations properly and you have the right trigger words, if they DM you, if they message on Facebook, it's going to send them a message. But if you send them on Instagram, it's going to send them a message. So it's the same thing, you know? So if you set them up properly, you'll be rocking and rolling. Thanks. Yeah.
Thanks.
And by the way, Scott, just separate thing is the guides and the neighborhood guides and things like this, they work extremely well for boomers. Like extremely well. That's who we see using our like chasing those down more than anybody as far as statistics for my business. Is like oh, things to do in Newport Beach during the summer. Like those guides are like they crush for boomers because you know younger generations they just go and search it, right?
Right.
They're used to getting something seen and so forth. So what I would tell you is like I would build those out. Like that course that I have on ManyChat and AI, I talk about like which ones I use, like the templates that I use, how to build the prompts and all of that. Like that would be a really good way to kind of go and say like, okay, hey, what kind of guides could I send out? And then, you know, send them out from there.
Thanks.
Yep, no problem. Any other questions? Whether it's on AI or anything in real estate, I mean.
I have a quick question. Sometimes I create an ad and then I can't post the ad because Meta is like, you've done something offensive. And like I put in all this work and now the music and it still doesn't. Do you guys have like any technology or software that you use to kind of make sure that like our ad is, you know, it's going to get through with Meta and it doesn't get blocked? So.
No. So what I will tell you though is, make sure that you follow, like I would read Meta, like whatever guidelines they tell you, make sure with housing, there's a lot of rules for ads. And I would make sure that you also the music in the background, you can't use music on the ads unless it's cleared, so on and so forth. Like I would tell you like be very careful when you're running ads with Meta because they will shut your ads account down. So just make sure that you follow their guidelines that they have, or you hire somebody that's going to be able to do it. But if you're learning how to do it, be careful on posting or trying to do so many that are hitting against their guidelines, because what'll end up happening is they'll just shut your account down.
Yeah,
That's why.
The biggest thing that I saw shift for those ads were we were doing a lot with landing pages where it was like wondering what your home is worth, like, you know, put in your address and we'll send you information. We were doing a tremendous amount with that, and it the biggest shift, and this is several years ago, was you couldn't pinpoint a specific town or section of town. It was like a 5 mile radius or whatever. I forget maybe it was a 2 mile. I don't remember. But basically like changing the, you know, the radius because it was fair housing driven. They didn't want people to be like essentially redlining and saying like, you know, this is an area that we're going after, and, you know, and we're not going after other areas or other consumers.
So by the way, Facebook now, like if you're making an ad for housing, like it'll ask you and it'll click it and then it'll help you. So like just make sure that you follow its rules. Long story short, like that's my best advice for ads. Ads are a whole different game. That's a whole different ball game. I should actually build a course on that because that is a really, really hard thing to understand. But once you get it, you can be really efficient with it. So I would tell you just learn, like study it before you just start posting stuff as ads.
Go ahead, Xander.
Okay, do any of you use cold calling dialer? And if so, how would you integrate this?
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. How would you integrate with cold calling?
Yes.
Okay, so that's an interesting question as far as so I use a couple different things. So I have like a really interesting method. I built my business off of cold calling. My first 2 years, I cold called 4 hours a day. I door knocked for 2 hours a day, and then I did 2 open houses every single weekend. That's how I built my business. I sold 30 million in my first year. The thing about cold calling is there's no way to automate it. Period. End of story. Now, it's about automating the follow-up, right? So when you pull that data, whoever you're cold calling, and you pull that data, and however you pull it up, whatever you do, you know, as long as it's in a compliant way, right? I gotta make sure I say that. But when you get that data from wherever you get it, and you do it the right way, then what ends up happening is most likely you'll be able to pull their email addresses. You'll probably be able to pull some more of their data. And what we do is we run ads utilizing the data from their email addresses, their addresses, so on and so forth. It's a whole really high level stuff. So we take that data and we utilize it to run ads in it to target those types of people. And then the other side of things is we use something called slide dial. So what we do is we actually send ringless voicemails to a lot of these people and drive a lot of traffic from there. Again, these things like automations and that's a whole different like course. Like that is a whole different thing.
Mhm.
I'm going to pull up your link for it. Give me a second.
For the listing.
For slide dial.
No, I'll send a link here. Give me 1 second. Or you can just comment on any of my posts that say listings. I have my big thing is I'm like really into like training and putting out the content as much as possible. So I have like courses for a lot of this stuff that I built out that my agents use that, you know, I send out. I have one. This is like probably the most successful course as far as like my agents go that I get feedback on is my listings masterclass. It goes through exactly what you're asking. This that I just sent, this link that I just sent in the chat, I go through my exact process on how I double my listings. I believe that there should be a standard of every listing that I take, I should get another listing and another buyer, period, end of story. And that process is exactly how I do it. And I talk about how I cold call, what my scripts are, what the next follow-up pieces are, how to follow up, how to pull the data. Like every little piece is inside that course right there. So that one is like, I think we charge like $300 to join that course. but I think we have it on sale right now. I don't even know. I'm going to click it right now so I could see. Or if you just, I sent you the wrong link. Give me 1 second. There we go. Yeah. It's just Butterfly Minds. Let me resend that link here. Edit. Boom. It's just butterflymindset.com. But I go through exactly that process in there. I wish I can give you like, oh yeah, just do this and then you're good. But it's a little more. Yeah. Yeah, Carolyn, I just